Picture this. You invest millions in a new office building or even a modern hospital, and in the end, the Wi-Fi doesn't work. Done right, Wi-Fi planning can even save lives in an emergency. Done wrong, it burns millions. That's exactly what this episode is about. Hi and welcome. Great that you're tuning in. I'm Sebastian from Messkom Vertriebs GmbH, based in Mauen, and here on Measure Don't Guess, I bring you regular insights on Wi-Fi, fiber, and network test and measurement. Whether you're just starting out or already a pro, there's something here for you. Today, it's about why professional Wi-Fi planning is simply indispensable. I'll show you why Wi-Fi has long become a real productivity factor, what demands a hospital or a nursing home place on their network, why construction projects of all things turn into the most expensive trap, and how professional planning software solves the problem in practice. And we'll thoroughly clear out the old gut feeling approach to network planning along the way, because honestly, that's had its day. Let's start with a number that packs a punch, 2 to 3 hours. According to data from the market researchers at Stahlbergen, that's on average the time an employee loses in productivity every week, purely because of bad Wi-Fi. The connection drops, you constantly have to reconnect, or your colleague on the video call suddenly freezes. Multiply that across a whole year and a whole team. That's a massive economic loss that many companies just accept as normal. And that immediately raises the question, why do so many Wi-Fi projects actually fail? We've installed expensive high-end hardware, and there's still that one annoying dead zone at the back of the office, or constant dropouts in the warehouse. The reason often simply lies in device density. These days, practically everyone carries 2 to 3 devices around at once. Laptop, work phone, maybe a tablet too. In a small office with just 25 people, that's quickly 75 devices all wanting to be on the network at the same time. For normal work, each device needs 10 to 25 megabits per second. Add a video call, and that's quickly another 4 to 8 megabits on top. When everyone starts their meeting at 10 in the morning, a standard network from the electronics store down the street simply collapses. No chance. Now it gets really critical. In a hospital, we're no longer talking about a few delayed emails, but about real-time telemetry, meaning the live monitoring of vital signs. Countless networked medical devices hang on the network there, the so-called Internet of Medical Things, plus mobile carts for digital patient records, and the entire voice communication of clinical staff over Wi-Fi telephony. Every single data packet genuinely has to arrive reliably. In a nursing home, it's just as critical, only differently. The emergency call transmitter sits right on the resident's wrist, at the pulse of care, so to speak. Just as important is locating residents with Alzheimer's. If a resident leaves the building unnoticed, the system detects it via exactly this Wi-Fi and raises the alarm before anything happens. Both only work if the wireless network is seamless and stable. On top of that, staff today are completely dependent on mobile, network devices. When a nurse walks down a corridor, past thick concrete walls or massive elevator shafts, their device has to jump from one antenna to the next within milliseconds. That's called roaming. A tiny drop connection at exactly that moment can mean a critical alarm doesn't get through. And that simply must never happen. Experts call this a sentinel event, the absolute worst case, a network outage with direct, potentially life-threatening consequences for patients. In an environment like that, just guessing where the next Wi-Fi router should go isn't just unprofessional, it's grossly negligent. That's why this whole thing isn't just a technical gimmick, it's hard regulation. Large hospitals with over 30,000 inpatient cases a year fall under critical infrastructure, and the BSI, Germany's Federal Office for Information Security, doesn't joke about that. What's required is seamless, verifiable IT security and redundancy at the latest state of the art. A fail-safe Wi-Fi network here is simply a legal must. Let's turn to a case that's especially painful because it would be so avoidable: the construction project. This is the chronology of a real disaster, aptly described by Beamverlag 2. It almost always starts with a vague tender. Buried somewhere in the small print is just one single sentence: Wi-Fi to be provided. Great, thanks. Without detailed planning according to the official HOAI phases, Germany's fee structure for architects and engineers, contractors have to calculate completely blind. The hardware then gets ordered by gut feeling and unit count, and the result is an extremely expensive retrofit. Picture this. It hurts just to hear it. The multi-million building is finished. Fresh concrete, fancy ceilings, expensive drywall, everything plastered and painted. And right at that moment you realize the Wi-Fi signal doesn't get through the thick fire doors or the special X-ray shielded walls at all. Now you suddenly need more access points, but the cable pathways are missing. No conduits, no network sockets. So you literally have to tear open the brand new walls again. The costs explode. The alternative couldn't be more different. It used to work like this. You look at the floor plan, tap the corridor with a pen and figure, let's just hang a transmitter here, should be fine. The risk of dead zones is huge that way, and the mistakes get expensive. The modern solution is database measurement with professional software. This makes the actually invisible Wi-Fi practically tangible. We turn radio waves into hard data that lets you promise guaranteed coverage at the end. In practice, it works like this. A professional walks through every corridor and every room with a special measuring device. And software like Planner Plus from Hamina records every single square centimeter with millimeter precision. At the end, you get what's called a heat map, a map of the wireless coverage across the whole building. Green means a strong signal. Yellow and red mean critical areas. That makes it exactly traceable where channels collide, where neighboring networks interfere, and where a dead zone actually forms. And it goes a step further. Modern planning software can simulate the entire radio behavior long before the first spade even hits the ground on site. You upload the architect's digital CAD plans and specify the materials. 30 centimeters of reinforced concrete here, triple glazing there. The program calculates exactly how strongly each individual material dampens the radio waves. You place the antennas virtually, and you know months before move-in exactly how well the network will run later. If this has been interesting so far, feel free to subscribe to our channel now and leave a like. That way you'll get practical knowledge like this on Wi-Fi measurement and network technology on a regular basis. All right, let's carry on, because now comes the question of what tool you actually use for this. When it comes to the actual planning software, there are currently two providers splitting the market. On one side, Ekahau, the undisputed industry standard, an extremely powerful tool with deep reporting features and its own very precise measuring hardware, the Sidekick 2. On the other side, Hamina, the smart challenger, fully browser-based, fast, with an intuitive interface and brilliant 3D visualizations. One special thing about Hamina: you're not tied to a fixed measuring device from the manufacturer, but can use a variety of endpoint devices. For example, the Hamina Clip, a complete Bluetooth measuring device barely bigger than a pack of cigarettes that measures with no cabling at all. The planner is also compatible with devices from Osmium, NetAlly, and other manufacturers. Whichever tool you end up choosing, both turn pure guesswork into real, solid science. And that's exactly the standard we work to at Messkom. Our managing director, Andreas Gold, is ECSE Design Certified. We're Ekahau and Hamina partners, and we work every day with exactly the tools I just talked about. For us, that's not a certification for the logo on the website. It's the promise that your Wi-Fi gets measured and planned instead of guessed. Before I wrap up, one small homework assignment, or rather, a pretty provocative question, especially if you're the one calling the shots at your company. Is your Wi-Fi really being planned professionally in your next tender? Or does it once again just say that one fatal sentence: Wi-Fi to be provided? Think about the 2 to 3 hours of lost productivity per week. Think about the absurd retrofit costs once the walls are already up. And in the worst case, think about patient safety in a clinic. Do yourself a favor. Measure, don't guess. If what you want is someone who doesn't just estimate your Wi-Fi, but actually measures it, you'll find us at messkom.de or just give us a call. If you enjoyed this episode, subscribe to the channel and leave a like so you don't miss the next one. Thanks for listening, and until next time, you're Sebastian from Messkom.